There comes a moment in every life when the weight of unfinished tasks presses on the mind like a gathering storm, each unchecked item a lightning bolt threatening to shatter our confidence. We scan the growing list of obligations and feel the pull of resistance, as if an invisible barrier rises between intention and action. In that tension, our hearts quicken and our thoughts spiral, not from the challenge itself, but from the subtle but powerful habit of postponing what matters most. Beneath this struggle lies a hidden promise of relief. In the brief lull of avoidance, we experience a deceptive calm that whispers, "Just a little longer," convincing us that delay is a refuge rather than a trap. Yet each moment of respite comes at the cost of mounting guilt and shrinking possibility, until we awaken one day to a reality where time has slipped away and our dreams remain unclaimed. It is here, in the fertile ground of discomfort, that the seeds of transformation are sown. Imagine, then, discovering a system so precise and reliable that it turns the very force of avoidance into a catalyst for progress. Picture your days unfolding with deliberate momentum, each step building on the last until what once seemed overwhelming melts into manageable action. This is not a promise of perfect ease, but a roadmap that channels your impulses, aligns your focus, and reshapes procrastination's feedback loop into an engine of productivity. Allow yourself to settle into this moment of possibility, where the frustration of delay gives way to the clarity of purpose. As you lean into the insights that follow, notice how each principle resonates with your own experience of hesitation and momentum. The journey ahead will guide you to transform fleeting relief into lasting achievement, igniting a new rhythm of progress that carries you steadily toward the life you envision. The procrastination feedback loop that feeds itself, in the quiet moments before a deadline looms. You may feel the urge to step away from the task at hand, checking your phone, wandering your inbox, or convincing yourself that a brief break will somehow sharpen your focus. That momentary relief, however, plants a seed of avoidance that blossoms into a recurring cycle. The more you postpone, the greater the tension becomes, and the stronger the impulse to delay again. With each act of deferral, the brain rewards you with a small burst of dopamine, reinforcing the very habit that undermines your progress. Over time, this loop tightens its grip, transforming simple hesitation into an anchored pattern of delay, where the promise of comfort eclipses the value of completion. Once identified, this feedback mechanism reveals its insidious nature. Avoidance is not merely an absence of action, but a conditioned response that perpetuates itself. By becoming aware of how each temporary escape deepens your resistance, you lay the groundwork for interruption, shifting from a passive participant in this cycle to an active architect of change. Why your brain prefers instant comfort? Within the circuitry of your brain, a powerful messenger named dopamine orchestrates the dance between reward and motivation, guiding you toward pleasures that light up your neural pathways. In moments of stress or boredom, the lure of trivial distractions, social media notifications, quick video clips, or impulsive snacks triggers rapid dopamine surges, promising instant relief from discomfort. These fleeting rewards, however, create a powerful bias. The brain begins to favor immediate satisfaction over the delayed gratification of meaningful tasks, reinforcing the misconception that comfort must always be found in the easiest option. This delusion becomes especially potent when significant work offers only subtle signals of progress, demanding sustained effort before the payoff emerges. In contrast, trivial distractions deliver clear, immediate feedback, likes, clicks, or tastes, that the brain can count as victories. Over time, your reward circuits are rewired to prioritize these low-effort, high immediate reward behaviors, while challenging endeavors languish in neglected corners of attention. Recognizing this dynamic reveals the hidden tug-of-war within your mind, a competition between the siren call of instant comfort and the deeper fulfillment that arises from meaningful achievement. The path to reconditioning these reward pathways lies in deliberately replacing quick fixes with incremental wins that carry genuine value. By designing small, consistent rituals that yield tangible progress, such as setting a timer for focused work or celebrating the completion of a micro task, you Retrain your brain to associate productivity with dopamine release. As you repeat this process, the brain's priority shifts, aligning your natural cravings with the satisfaction of purpose-driven activity rather than the deceptive ease of momentary distraction that in understanding the dopamine delusion, you unmask. One of the most formidable opponents of sustained productivity, the instinctual pull towards short-lived comfort. Yet within that awareness lies your greatest advantage, empowering you to retune your brain's reward system so that each meaningful step forward becomes not just worthwhile, but irresistibly appealing. The urgent, important deception that steals your focus. Every morning brings a deluge of demands clamoring for attention, emails marked urgent, notifications flashing with deadlines, and crises that seem to demand immediate action. Yet in the frenzy of responding to what feels pressing, you risk sidelining the tasks that truly drive your progress and purpose. This confusion between urgency and importance leaves you busy from dawn to dusk, but at day's end, the most meaningful objectives remain untouched. The tyranny of the urgent hijacks your calendar, warping perception so that reaction trumps intention, and you find yourself sprinting on a hamster wheel of perpetual motion. Beneath this deception lies a simple truth. Not all urgent matters serve your long-term goals, and not all important work arrives with an alarm. When you yield to the demands that shout the loudest, you reinforce a culture of distraction, one in which immediate relief from pressure feels productive, even as it diverts resources from the strategic priorities that shape your future. Over time, the imbalance between urgent busyness and essential achievement undercuts both momentum and morale, fostering a chronic sense of frustration and unfulfilled potential. To expose this deception, it becomes crucial to separate the roar of the moment from the quiet call of significance. By categorizing tasks according to their true value, distinguishing short-lived crises from work that advances your core mission, you reclaim the power to align your energy with what matters most. This realignment dissolves the illusion that everything pressing is paramount, allowing you to invest your focus where it yields enduring impact and to resist the siren song of demands that merely distract. In unveiling the urgent, important deception, you break free from the shackles of reactive living. Awareness of this dynamic restores your agency, guiding you to orchestrate your day around purposeful action rather than ceaseless reaction. As a result, your efforts flow toward the objectives that define success on your terms, ensuring that each moment of your time builds the life and achievements you truly desire. Imagine standing at the base of a towering mountain of work, overwhelmed by its sheer scale and unsure where to begin. Tracy's sequential task strategy transforms that daunting summit into a series of footholds, each representing a discrete micro-action that leads inexorably upward. By breaking large projects into ordered steps and identifying the most logical sequence, you create a clear roadmap that dissolves paralysis and replaces it with progressive momentum. Each completed micro-step becomes a tangible sign of advancement, instilling confidence and reinforcing the belief that even the most ambitious goal can be achieved one deliberate action at a time. This approach hinges on two principles: clarity of sequence and focus of execution. Clarity emerges when you outline every necessary component of your project and arrange them according to logical dependencies, understanding which tasks unlock the next and which can wait. Focus follows naturally, as you concentrate on the immediate step before you, freeing your mind from the weight of the entire undertaking. The friction of decision-making diminishes, and the path forward takes on a rhythmic flow, each micro-action completing the last and setting the stage for the next. As you apply this strategy, the mountain of work transforms into a series of manageable hills, each ascent reinforcing your momentum and reshaping your identity as someone who conquers challenges through systematic progress. The satisfaction derived from completing each micro-step triggers a reinforcing cycle of productivity, where confidence builds alongside tangible results. In this way, the sequential task strategy not only dismantles overwhelm, but also cultivates a powerful habit of disciplined execution that carries you steadily toward the pinnacle of accomplishment. Transform fear into action. Beneath the surface of procrastination often lies a matrix of anxieties, fear of failure that whispers you are not capable, fear of judgment that convinces you to hide work away, and fear of uncertainty that paralyzes each step forward. These emotional undercurrents act like drag anchors, slowing your progress and draining your motivation. Yet within these fears lies the raw energy to propel you into decisive action. If only you learn to anchor them to a positive motive. The transformation begins when you assign a clear, compelling emotion to counteract each fear, shifting the narrative from "I cannot" to "I choose to." For instance, the tremor of anxiety before a challenging task can be anchored to the excitement of mastery, converting dread into anticipation. By vividly recalling a moment when you overcame a significant obstacle, you evoke feelings of resilience and capability that serve as emotional levers. When that same nervous energy surges, you deliberately trigger the remembrance, letting its uplifting intensity override the original fear that in practice. This technique forges a powerful link between emotional stimuli and purposeful action. You create a mental cue, a phrase, an image, or a gesture that instantly transports you from hesitation to empowerment. When faced with a paralyzing moment, you activate this anchor, channeling the initial anxiety into the very force that spurs you on. Over time, repeated use of the anchor rewires your emotional responses, ensuring that what once held you back becomes the trigger that launches you forward. Through the emotional anchor technique, fear no longer looms as a barrier but stands as a testament to the significance of your endeavor. By mastering this inner mechanism, you reclaim the energy trapped in apprehension and transform it into a relentless drive toward productivity, proving that the emotions once feared are the same ones that can ignite your greatest achievements. Binding yourself to your goals. There is a profound transformation that occurs when intentions are not merely held in the mind but cemented in a tangible form, written in ink, voiced to another, or recorded in a public forum. This act of pre-commitment elevates goals from private wishes to visible obligations, dramatically increasing follow-through by tapping into your innate need for consistency and accountability. When you bind yourself to a promise you cannot easily retract, your subconscious aligns with the declaration, marshaling your resources and energy toward honoring that commitment. The strength of pre-commitment lies in its ability to create external pressure that complements your internal resolve. By announcing a deadline to a colleague, posting your target on social media, or scheduling a series of check-in meetings, you introduce stakes that heighten your dedication. Each external witness becomes a reminder of your pledge, reinforcing the neural pathways associated with responsibility and diminishing the allure of procrastination's escape routes. Moreover, pre-commitment preempts hesitation by establishing clear contingencies. If this step is not completed by the agreed-upon time, a predetermined consequence triggers, whether it's a donation to a cause you oppose or the loss of a privilege. These structured agreements redefine the cost-benefit analysis in your mind, making avoidance more costly than action. By embedding such mechanisms into your planning, you transform slip into a setback that demands correction rather than an acceptable pause. In harnessing the power of pre-commitment, you convert abstract intentions into living contracts with yourself and others. The ensuing accountability system becomes an external reflection of your deepest ambitions, binding you to the path of progress and making each decision to advance less a test of willpower and more an act of honoring a solemn vow. The rhythm of focus and renewal. Endless days of unbroken work can erode your mental clarity and lead to brittle concentration. Yet stepping away at the wrong moment risks breaking momentum and creating resistance to return. The key lies in harmonizing periods of sustained focus with intentional renewal, aligning your work cycles with the body's natural ultradian rhythms. In these cycles, your peak cognitive performance emerges in roughly 90-minute bursts, followed by a shorter window for rest and recovery. By honoring this pattern, you ride the wave of high productivity and then recharge before fatigue sets in, preserving both efficiency and well-being. To implement this rhythm, begin each work phase with a clear objective and a set duration, immersing yourself fully in the task until the natural dip in focus signals the need for renewal. During the break, engage in activities that activate different neural circuits, stretching, brief walks, or mindful breathing, allowing your mind to shift gears and restore its resources. This deliberate alternation between deep engagement and restorative pause prevents cognitive overload and turns the workday into a series of energized sprints rather than a marathon of dwindling attention. Over time, adhering to this cycle refines your sense of timing. You learn to recognize the subtle cues of waning concentration and give yourself permission to rest before the decline becomes debilitating. The ensuing pattern of focus and renewal transforms productivity into a sustainable practice, where each period of effort is followed by rejuvenation, ensuring that your creative and analytical capacities remain at their peak. In this balanced cadence, procrastination loses its power and is replaced by a rhythmic flow of action and recovery that propels you steadily toward your goals. That a real-life turnaround story that Anna's struggle with procrastination began innocently. Enough postponing reports and delaying emails. But over the years, her habit of deferral escalated into a barrier that threatened her career and self-worth. Deadlines loomed like specters, each unmet due date reinforcing her belief that she was inherently unable to manage her workload. Yet when she discovered Brian Tracy's system, a remarkable transformation took root. By mapping out her procrastination feedback loop, she became aware of the fleeting relief that had long governed her choices and pinpointed the exact moments when avoidance overtook intention. Guided by this insight, she rewired her dopamine pathways, replacing mindless scrolling with 5-minute bursts of focused writing, celebrated as small wins tracked in her journal. Soon, the trivial distractions lost their allure, and meaningful tasks began to trigger genuine satisfaction. She then applied the urgent, important framework, ruthlessly decluttering her to-do list and allocating prime morning hours to high-impact projects. Each micro-step she completed under Brian Tracy's sequential task strategy felt like a foothold on a once-impossible climb. When anxiety threatened to derail her, Anna anchored her emotions to a memory of past resilience, converting fear into the impetus for decisive action. She bound herself to her goals through public commitments to her team and adopted a disciplined rhythm of 90-minute work sprints followed by intentional renewal breaks. Over 6 weeks, her transformation became palpable. Tasks that once paralyzed her were now handled with methodical confidence. Her output soared, and her sense of mastery replaced the old shame of delayed. Anna's journey from chronic procrastination to unwavering productivity stands as a testament to the power of a structured system. Each principle she embraced, feedback loops, dopamine realignment, task sequencing, emotional anchoring, pre-commitment, and focus rhythms, wove together into a resilient fabric of progress. Her story illuminates the path from delay to mastery, proving that with the right insights and persistent application, anyone can turn the habit of postponement into a conduit for remarkable achievement. Looking back on the journey from the hidden feedback loops of procrastination to the heights of mastery, you have witnessed the transformation of avoidance into deliberate progress. We unveiled how momentary relief entrenches delay, how your brain's craving for instant comfort can be retuned toward meaningful work, and how distinguishing between urgent distractions and truly important tasks restores your focus. Through Brian Tracy's sequential task strategy, emotional anchoring, pre-commitment mechanisms, and the cadence of focused sprints, we mapped a comprehensive system that reshapes every facet of your productivity. This system does more than offer isolated tactics. It weaves an integrated tapestry of insight and action, teaching your mind to perceive challenges as opportunities, converting fear into forward motion, and forging a resilient identity of someone who completes what they start. Each principle you apply compounds with the last, creating a self-reinforcing cycle where small wins accumulate into significant triumphs, and where sustained momentum replaces the old patterns of hesitation. In this way, procrastination loses its power, and you step into a role of intentional creator rather than passive observer of your own potential. Now, as you return to your tasks and ambitions, carry these insights into your daily life. Choose the chapter that spoke most deeply to your experience, whether it was the rewiring of your reward system, the structure of microactions, or the rhythm of focus and renewal, and commit to applying it consistently over the coming week. Observe how each deliberate step, each honored commitment, and each moment of mindful focus reshapes your reality. Your path from delay to mastery unfolds moment by moment, and the promise of productivity awaits in the choices you make right now.